Welcome, everybody. We've got esports fans, we've got Rocket League fans, and we've got great action underway today for your CECC Midwest Regional Finals. My name is Pirate J. I'm here with Danger Taco, and Taco, it's been a slugfest for the finals. It feels like Midwest just is collegiate Rocket League with the caliber of teams and players that we've had, and we've got a great final two teams remaining.
Yeah, this is the kind of funny part about a lot of teams in the current ecosystem of collegiate Rocket League, because there's been a lot of debates, especially on the grander scale of like, how do you separate all these conferences? Do you just do East-West? And a lot of people were saying we should do regionals, and everyone was like, well, what do you do about the Midwest? Because you have teams like we do find in the bracket. We have Ball State, we have Davenport, we have Northwood, we have Maryville, we have Shawnee State and Illinois State, all these ridiculous top 20 type of teams, all just crammed into one region. And of course, that means this bracket has been ridiculous. And now we do have our two finalists in Maryville and Illinois State, which is wild to think about, considering Maryville came into this season looking pretty hot, but Illinois State a little bit more of a struggle. And yet they're the ones that are just slapping people around. They had a 4-0 over Ball State just to begin this bracket.
And I guess the start of such a great bracket is how you try to finish strong, right? A sweep over Ball State and then a win over Davenport. Taco, I've been covering Davenport the entire CRL season so far, and they've slapped ISU on their way to top eights of CRL. Well, not today. This is a different breed of ISU, and I just cannot wait to see what they have up against Maryville today.
Particularly because Maryville, getting to this point, you might have been said, well, you mentioned Northwood in this. Isn't Northwood, like the team? Well, Maryville has, weirdly enough, had their number throughout many different competitions. They were 4-1 victors over them in the semifinal just before this one. So Northwood is going to have to wait for everyone else, like kind of just sitting in the bleachers, cheering on whatever team they want to win, because it doesn't really matter for them. They'll have to wait until subsequent events to be able to actually get into all of these different future events like CECC, because this is for a qual spot. This is Maryville and Illinois State ready to get into it for that spot. Otherwise, going to have to really eke it out later on.
A highly coveted position of that top 4 CECC, as Taco just mentioned, is at stake for this best of 7 of Rocket League. And boy, is it going to be a slugfest. Maryville, to me, Taco, is a team that gets started off very quickly, very hot. So it's a little bit on ISU to keep them tempered, keep those flames tempered as we begin.
Yeah, and Maryville actually has been on a crazy hot streak. The very first CRL Open of the entire year was won by them, but then after that, they actually have not been able to find the same amount of chemistry, and I think that doesn't necessarily speak to their weakness, but really just the fact that I think everybody in the entirety of top-level CRL has been able to step up and play to their maximum potential at different points. You even had, I believe, out of the 3 CRL Opens, we've had 3 different winners, and honestly, when you look across league play, everybody's trading result. There is no definitive, this is the best team.
It's just so clustered at the highest level. It forces teams to be nearly perfect to get that win. And with such a title as a CRL Open champion of Maryville, they are certainly one of the teams that you look to strike that first CECC spot here in the Midwest. And they're on pace to do it now.
Yeah, it's a tough one from No Mansion. He gets the first 50, but then as he realizes halfway through, he's trying to drift to get the 50, and then Cosmic's just backing them up, but the pinch beats one and therefore beats both of them, and it's an issue there with almost trusting your teammates too much. It's a common thing that you do see when everyone's cheating up. Someone calls out, I got a 50, and then suddenly the other team just able to subvert expectations, just tap it right to the side of them, and everything goes out the window. So an unfortunate goal to give up for number 1, but it did come at the tail end of a lot of Maryville pressure. Speaking of pressure, Cosmic delivering a lot, just exploding bodies in front of him, and naturally it's going to result in CG top shelfing it.
And is that not masterful here from No Mansion? He notices the onus is on the defense to charge in, so he slows down the play and offers CG a wonderful meal on a shining silver plate, Taco. Great equalizer at ISU.
And that's exactly what you like to see in the beginning of a game, where you're saying, well, on paper, should Maryville win this? Well, on paper, we should have seen a lot of different results in this bracket. And yet, ISU, I think, really showing that they have a lot of potential. And I think now at the end of their first semester as this new squad with Cosmic in the link, trying to live up to that, try to finish all their opportunities, and yet No Mansion maybe overthinking how much speed he had to get on this one, not able to make the contact in the open net. So instead, they'll build from midfield.
And so they will indeed. Cosmic fly straight into Night. No Mansion with the boost pickup. And once again, leaving the ball for CG. This duo shaping up to be rather lethal against Maryville. No mention abandoning the ball for the bump, but evading it ever so cleverly is Maryville. Those players, they all got their head on a swivel to look out for those bumps, those demos, and those shot opportunities.
Off ceiling, Wave has it, but so does Knight. He calls off his teammate, and for good reason. Wave might have looked a little bit more impressive on the build-up, but that finish is sublime.
And CG and Cosmic, you're just so clustered there in the corner, leaving No Mansion alone for such a great chance at a shot there. It's good looks for the team, but maybe not so much on a little bit of clustering, as I mentioned there, from the corner. So we'll get things back underway here, halfway point, and Maryville still cooking. Oh no, Taco, this one hurts.
It does. And oftentimes it will hurt like this because you see everybody involved and you think, okay, well, you have this read, but are you really going to get it on? And then you realize, oh, wait, Related Wave, he played pro play for a while at EU. He can definitely hit that, and then you jump too late. It's a brutal thing to be able to witness, and even at the top level, you have some reason where you're saying, some angle is just too hard to hit, but that is not the case, especially with Maryville. It could get even worse because Wave nearly pre-jumping that one. Fortunately for the side of ISU, that bounce is not going to be favorable.
And the problem is, it's, of course, those tough shots are not that tough for Maryville. When you speak on all players, right? Of course, Relating Wave can do that, but so can Knight, and especially can Speed. In fact, often I see Speed making the craziest moves for this team. So, yeah, for ISU, they've got to give the greatest levels of respect to every player.
No Mansion trying to cut in front and will not be able to get anything as the fake underneath from one. It's going to only go so far, meets the ISU wall of Cosmic and CG trying to combine. And right now, ISU just trying to find a creative way, let's say, of getting out of their half. And my goodness, is it a task right now? Maryville just looping around, stealing all the boosts they can, which makes that task even harder because right now, even with the clear from CG, no boost to be able to follow it up.
And I don't know if he missed that boost or left it for a teammate, but again, you speak about the resource management, and it just doesn't look optimal right now for ISU. Some big decisions need to be made when they're caught in their half, but at this point, they're still making this possession work. Nice pop-up here to CG, who's going to follow this with a flip reset air dribble, going for the bump on Speed, but Speed lays very safely on the back wall, says, you can try to bump or demo me, but I think I'll stay right here.
Speed also being able to stick really close to No Match. You can see him put on the brakes in his mind as well, just saying, okay, well, if I go any further, that's probably an own goal, but that's fine. He's able to survive and then potentially set up something crazy on the bounce perfectly into Cosmic, and it all works out on the improvisation.
Feels like this one came a little bit out of nowhere. Wave thinks he has the read, but he's actually putting it straight into a dunking passer to allow Cosmic to finish the job. ISU, they may be caught in their back half pretty often, but they make that counterattack work very wonderfully.
However, Relating Wave, he's not going to take that sitting down. Well, maybe literally in the gaming chair, but I mean figuratively, Pyro. You don't want to be able to watch a goal like that and say, well, that's going to cut your lead, and say, Mel, sure, you only last 30 seconds, but that is a very long time. And the already truncated time limits of Rocket League at the highest level, especially now that you have potentially a breakaway if they're not careful. CG's trying to get the pinch. He certainly does get it, but not into the ceiling. It's all the way to the far side for CG to fetch again. Off corner, Cosmic. He's got all the boosts. He's got all the angle. High catch, and Relating Wave calls his bluff.
They've worked it from their own end before. They've got to do it again here and now. And they've got to do it against an air dribbling Wave who's just threatening the shot ever so slowly. He's already brought it down from 10 to 0 on the clock. And now it's about keeping it out of the hands of ISU. ISU, you have no boost as well. It's nearly impossible to make this work. And so the ball is killed. Maryville start with game one.
It's a solid beginning from them, despite that one goal differential coming in at the end. But the shots definitely in their favor, finishing up with double digits and tripling the side of ISU, but not to say, or nearly tripling, as I say, 3 is not 2, to make it a 4. But either way, definitely a struggle at times. And yeah, I have to go back to the fact that the boost management is not ideal, but you can also see psychologically what that does to you, because we did have a play earlier. CG went up, they had no boost, they sent it by, but they had to forego their own corner boost just because they knew if they went for that, they'd probably get beat to the ball, and therefore it just goes right back in. So at a certain point, they're like, we're just gonna have to take the temporary clear at a certain point, and then we'll just figure things out later. And I think if they can adjust a little bit cleaner in game 2, maybe we'll see it maybe sway a little bit more toward their favor.
Yeah, we saw the small little adjustments that maybe ISU needed to make. You mentioned on goal number 1, there was a little too much trust, and maybe not everything was communicated. Then we're on the resource management, and we definitely saw why ISU are here and got a sweep over Ball State. They're so perseverant on defense, and to turn it around, to score, to bring it within 1 in the final minute is fantastic. But it also feels like Maryville don't have a lot to adjust on. They kind of have figured out how to take over different teams, including a 4-1 over Northwood. So the momentum's on their side here as we get into game number 2 of this best of 7 for the Midwest Regional Finals.
And again, this is so much weighing on these two teams, and honestly, a bunch of these teams that coming into this one, they have to think that they can win this one. Maryville is kind of the expected champion, I would say the overall favorite, both in terms of seeding, because ISU, I mean, they're making a run. If you want to believe the seeding and the way that all those group stages went into this bracket, they came in as the 6th seed out of 8 teams, and yet they're just 1 goal away in game number 1, so you have to think they believe in themselves to be able to strike on back, but of course, we know a lot about momentum as well, so it's just as easily that Maryville could be able to double things up and get themselves halfway to a sweep.
And that momentum not just coming from game 1, but as we mentioned, that win over Northwood. I mean, that was like a rivalry as well, because in Maryville's win in CRL, they had to suffer against the bracket reset and then defeat Northwood, which was quite the tussle. So getting a win over them, I think, definitely fuels them to be positive in this matchup as game 1 still underway, and some hot shots have had to be denied already.
Yeah, Cosmic doing well to just be able to chase the ball around. A couple of his touches, using that ones training in a way of just being able to be right in front of the ball. But the problem is the first attack, more or less, from Maryville is going to go in after all that ISU effort.
Wave at his radar scanner on speed here, apparently, with the dunk, because that pass gets right to him. It's all in that 50-50 game sometimes. And if you can coordinate to a teammate for that lock-on shot, they'll succeed. Up 1-0 now, Maryville.
And after all that, you really see ISU taking laps, taking 50s, getting open shots, and cause for last-second saves. And you're thinking, okay, well, that's all going well, but the thing is sometimes you do have a lot of pressure, but then it immediately unfolds into just a disaster in the backfield. Speaking of, No Mansion trying to make up for his game 1 miss on an open net, and this time will make no mistake about it as all of Maryville pressing up and just nobody minding the shop.
I mean, it's counterattacks once again, and like you said, that third not back in time. How many times do Maryville have to get punished here before they start being a bit more mindful about having someone back?
Cosmic going to pinch that one, or at least I thought he might have been able to. Instead, CG sending it down for Speed and Knight to deal with, and that is not the player you want on the ball. Arguably one of the best players in all the Western Conference in previous semesters. Certainly putting up an MVP performance within the summer series for Maryville, and that was really before he was able to add in some new weapons, some new toys to be able to play with here in Speed and Relating Wave. Definitely one of the more surprising transfers is the kind of a new wave of EU kids coming over to see what the NA university scene is all about.
Yeah, it's all about representation globally, apparently, because they're the ones at the top of the list a lot of the time. Remember watching that 1-0 finals, and it was almost all EU players. So here they are, striking again, this time in the Midwest, trying to be the best. Maybe with a good chance here from Wave, they will continue to be. Off the demo, he finds a ripper to the net.
Really do like this one. Light tap, knows as soon as CG jumps off the wall, his goose is cooked, and so you just need to be able to put that one directly to the back post, just a little bit outside the reach of the bumper, and can't really blame ISU on that one. It's just one of those spacing where you're just too far away. It's like the perfect encapsulation of the no man's land type of dynamic, where if you go for it, yeah, you're going to be late to it, but if you don't go, then would you really give them a completely open shot? It's kind of a hard gambit to play off of, but at the very least, they can rely on the fact that that is only for a 1-goal lead, and they have half the game to go, and with this speed, I don't really count on them being too difficult to be able to get some more shots on as they are continuing to try to rain down pressure and, of course, some punishes, but they can get punished right on back.
Well, who's going to win the Demolition Derby? Who comes out as the last man standing in this Mad Max battle? It is Maryville this time now for a 2-goal lead, and as you mentioned, yeah, for ISU, you don't have to worry too much. It's only 1 goal. It's only this goal. But it seems, Taco, that they're always having to work from behind, and that can be stressful over time.
especially if these bar downs don't go in, and it does not. Cosmic was trying to flutter across and get that one as CG and No Mansion actually take the ball away from each other, but maybe it's for the best. No Mansion, after all, does have a flip. He does as Cosmic. It's a demo play to roll on through. It's almost like Cosmic just meeting the eyes of his opponents like, if you can do that, so can I.
That's right. That's right. Everything's been allowed for now. Anything goes, and it's kind of like getting air dribble bumped in a 1v1. It's like, oh really, you want to go there? Fine, let the sparks fly.
And right now we have seen some sparks fly. We also may see some fireworks of CG. He's not locked down. He's not able to make an angle happen, but certainly a capable player, pulling off a lot of acrobatics. Same with this save as well. He's going to be able to subvert expectations again by getting past, but fortunately Speed played his timing well. Maryville, I definitely looking susceptible to the counter. It's kind of the double-edged sword of playing such an aggressive rotation on offense, is eventually, if one person dives in and doesn't get it, then everything might just go out the window.
I still kind of respect it though, right? It speaks to the confidence of Maryville when they are behind the ball, yet confidence comes with consistent touches, and that's not always coming through as well. So the susceptibility we're starting to see take shape with the pass to No Mansion. Absolute bullet in.
Yeah, and this is a little rough. Maryville kind of ties their hands behind their backs because all of them are on that backboard, and then you see Cosmic with 0 boost line up, and you knew exactly where he was going with it, but No Mansion still has to beat 2 defenders, and he's a decent distance away from the goal. Fortunately, No Mansion is him able to slap that one into the side netting more or less. Gets that equalizer, and ISU definitely not taking their lumps in game 1, but not really letting it get to them. They're playing phenomenally right now.
Why shot quality really matters. Even if the shot is expected, if it's drilled to a position where no one can get to it, at least can't hit it outside of the net, because we did get a touch on it, and it's good enough. Well, we need better than good enough here for ISU if they want to tie up this series, because Wave wants to be the better player. Unfortunately for him, that soft target. ISU get one more save, but how many more do they need? Cosmic trying to track this ball, just doesn't get under it. CG on the backflip of the goal line. Surely it's a goal unless No Mansion intercepts.
It's really well timed by No Mansion. It almost looked like a cornerback waiting to use that kind of closing speed, just saying, all right, well, I'm not going to get there immediately. I'm just going to wait for the lob, and then I'm going to dive in. Blind spot read and be able to get that one away. Can't say the same about the next one. They are, again, in the vortex of the Saints right now, as this one is going to go all the way back to Speed with spacing, as CG's trying to contend with him on a 50. And not only that, but he gets all of that one down. Even more so, that relating Wave has to deal with the idea of No Mansion right behind him. He's up for this last-second touch, trying to tap into the corner. Not nearly enough to get it back to CG. One more cleared. I'm thinking they're probably going to put that one down into the turf.
Maryville are hungry to get this next goal opportunity here in overtime. A couple of misplaced high shots that hit the crossbar instead. Are they burned for it in the end? Not yet, as Speed saves.
And one thing I definitely have noticed from Cosmic is that he's a highly finessed player. As I mentioned, a lot of 1v1 experience, but that also comes the idea of being physical. And right there, he has to also pull out a save, as that one was an air dribble that nearly beat out the entirety of the defense. Maryville, they've looked, I would necessarily say fragile on defense, but on offense, they are razor sharp, except for the fact that they are really cutting layers off of the bar right there. I think that's the third one in just this game alone.
The third one in the last 2 minutes of gameplay as well. The crossbar dented, as you mentioned, layers gone. CG maybe wants to set up a pass off the crossbar. That one, though, collected wisely by Maryville, and that is a dangerous backflip because now you're allowing Wave to cook. Thought he had the reset, but just couldn't track the ball. This one out tonight. He's got boost for another touch. There it is, over 1, bump 2, but the shot never comes in as a follow.
Wave making sure he takes his time. Problem is, Cosmic was just trailing in a straight line the whole time. Cosmic also whip across the back line. No boost to be able to go for the goalie. So instead, here comes Maryville with Speed and Knight. Pass too low. Now some more openings as No Mansion was waiting in the middle. CG, I think, overthought that one. Not really able to get around it. And you can see maybe the nerves starting to get to these teams. It really does feel like a game where just one singular mistake is going to end it all.
It really does. It's kept things on a nice edge, which is just how we like it here in the finals. Maryville hunting once again for that goal opportunity. No Mansion, the savior. in that sense, and almost gets a bump on no boost. He can't find the mid either, so things are getting a little shaky now for ISU as they're searching for the boost, yet finding nothing. The treasure as they dig for it, unfound. Cosmic, old miss touch wave allows it to bounce in the corner. Speed is going to get the better of the 50-50, but no Mansion saw that coming. Cosmic well positioned, but it flies into the opposite corner.
Yeah, it's a tough one as that clear was coming in. You can tell Cosmic wanted to do something else with this, but you can realize halfway through, I don't really have that touch, and I don't have this one either. Knight on the near post. CG's got to get there. Speed living up to his name. Getting to the ball first, but CG able to play that angle well as we're another half game into overtime, and No Mansion and company just trying to make sure they maintain their 50s, which I think is a solid strategy along with the communication as CG will take the handoff, hopefully getting a 50 into Cosmic's path. He's going to get beat to the corner, and everyone has to turn around and hope not to be dealt with on the counterattack yet again.
And Wave may have had that read just possibly because of waterfall down, even though he didn't have boost. Look at Knight on the powerful turnaround there from his own backboard. Speed just awkward positioning to get this towards the net. It's going to allow Cosmic to take his time with it. He follows for the bump. Knight evades. He's able to get the 50. Now Speed, you have to be very conscientious about this touch. He is very careful to keep that near his backboard so as to not allow an incoming shot. Even it's now an OT and No Mansion gives that up, but CG's got the follow through. Knight downfield and Cosmic collects.
Cosmic's also trying to avoid Knight as much as possible as he's swinging through, just trying to get a bump on him, and it's not going to work out. So No Mansion trying to use the last of his boost to its best effectiveness. There's another repeat of potentially Cosmic leading the way. Well done by Wave, being able to keep an eye on the ball, but also in the periphery. Not getting demoed. Speed, got to be careful of the top. Cosmic quickly up, bounce down, open shot for No Mansion. That's ISU taking game 2.
The idea was just right for Speed here. Nail it off your backboard, land on it, and then be there for the save. The problem was the bouncer was too hard to read. It goes right off the backboard for No Mansion to complete game 2 on top.
Love the look coming in from ISU at the end of that one. And I like also how they take it one step at a time. Always get so frustrated with every team trying to do things as fast as possible. Okay, one lob, just try to nail as fast as you can. Cosmic goes up for that. It almost looked like he was looking for a 50. And when he realizes he doesn't have it, he just spikes it on the ground, which throws everyone off. It's a little bit of a change up. And then even better, No Mansion is up as soon as it bounces to beat out Maryville, who is just a little bit bamboozled. And I think, honestly, they were pretty confused also on how to stop No Mansion. 5 shots, 4 goals, all of the offensive effort put together by him, and of course Cosmic on the receiving end, or at least giving him the receptions on 3 of those assists as well.
Yeah, it just goes to show, especially the 4 for 5 on the shots and goals. It was 5 shots of the team's 6 shots on target. I mean, that is just ludicrous when you think about it. No Mansion putting the team on his back there. But for Maryville, like, we saw the flip resets. They got to hit a memory reset after that game, Taco. How many times did they hit the crossbar? How many times did they have open looks to finish that game? And yet they couldn't. It's time to get a clean slate for game 3.
Those are the types of games that in some series people are saying, oh man, you're really going to have a team talk. And honestly, I feel like those are ones that don't necessarily fill you with confidence, but it's not going to harm you either, because you're thinking in yourself, at least I am, hey, if those didn't hit the crossbar, we're looking at a completely different game, because we had a lot of really solid opportunities. Now we just got to make sure we just rebuild and honestly not even change that much. Keep it going and obviously mine the counterattacks. Obviously ISU, if they have a singular chance to send 2 players to go for a demo, I think they're doing it every single time.
I will say, though, players like Speed have been much better at being mindful of the counterattack there in game 2. He did have to make some diving saves. If he didn't have a little more boost in the tank, it would have gone over him. But there has been that adjustment, at least partially made, especially in overtime when you're being very, very much mindful of it. So Maryville, they're on that journey. And you know what, Taco? It's a best of 7, so we might as well make it a nice long journey, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we're here. We're really only one thing on the broadcast here, is to see this conclusion, see who gets that qual spot in both these teams. Maybe not exactly the 2 teams you expected to see at the end of this one, but it is the Midwest qualifier. A lot of concentration of power, and not a lot of power required on this one from Wave. Just solid positioning. Speed putting this one with a crazy pinch.
Sure. Yeah, Speed, the master of the skies, truly. And Wave just so happy to be able to pick that up. And confidence booster, honestly, for Maryville. Doesn't really sound like the kind of team that you think needs a confidence boost, but it's a shot in the net that's going to do well for them. It's a smart interception there by Knight because it looked a bit dreadful for their last there, getting harassed in the net. And Maryville might just have the momentum here. No Mansion hassled on his goal line, but he's able to contain.
Look at that one, just having enough strength of mind to be able to get that bump and then also understand where his car is in 3D space. Which sounds like a kind of just empty compliment, but it's hard sometimes. You just flail him around, you don't know which way to flip, and he gets that backflip just in time. Now he needs to be able to get off the ground and get that save. He will, along with a musty, the temporary clear. Clearly, it's flowing for ISU despite the fact that it might be 2, and after that last second touch.
You gotta keep them on your toes, Taka. You gotta throw the musty out every now and then, right? And Knight gets that air dribble there. Cosmic, he'll have time on the ball, but it gets flung out. Top of the sidewall, and wow, Speed given a little extra time on that play. Knight, all the way to the sidewall. No Mansion contends with it. Scary in the corner here is Cosmic. Maybe looking for some boost to steal. Eventually does get it, so maybe the turnaround does take shape here. No Mansion is given the space, so he will utilize it. Flick up to a pre-jumping Cosmic, up off the bar, and ends up in.
It's one thing to be able to look at this, but I really want to pay attention to the boost totals. Cosmic doesn't even have 75 boost. I don't even know if he had 60 in the beginning of that play, but he just still pre-jumps, understands, all right, well, goalie's back, but they're not in goal. I'm just going to smack this one top shelf and see what happens. Poor Knight going backwards. He can save a lot. He cannot save that one.
And that's where I want a replay with comms. You know, Cosmic saying, I'm up, send it to me. Now they're saying, oh, great, we have to tie up the ball game again.
Yeah, Relating Wave doing really well with this one. Again, low boost play, and you're thinking, okay, it's going to be a light lob. Nope, it's just going to drill it as high as possible. Speed is up for it, and as long as he is first, he can do a lot. Like that shot low and underneath the pre-jumping goalie. Otherwise, might have been an ISU team getting away with it once again, but Maryville might find a way to get away with this one. Cosmic uncontested, at least initially, but Relating Wave just a straight line challenge, and able to keep it a 1-goal deficit for their lead for right now. Away from an angle again. He went from the left post one time, the right time for a second, and now a 2-goal lead.
And kudos to Wave for always following up these chances provided by Speed and Knight, but give the accolades to Knight on that play. He wall dashed all the way across the field and still managed an extra touch on the dunk from the save of ISU. They're just putting in that extra work to get that one last touch that proceeds into the goal. Really impressive the way that goals are developed on this Maryville side.
Especially now with the, I would say, the return to form of what Maryville might have expected. A lot of close games. Even the last one with a last-second goal was within 1 goal, and so now they're just saying, all right, well, let's try it out to see what it's like when we don't have to really just fight tooth and nail to be able to keep our lead. If we have a little bit of a cushion in the back half of the game, that's one thing, but there's nothing comfortable about how this midfield looks. Illinois State doing a lot of crosses left and right across the field. Difficult to know exactly where they're going, and these light little touches just confusing the rotation or putting them into a decent opportunity to be able to march on forward, especially with a wave dash into the flick. No Mansion completely destroyed that near post chance.
I guess we all missed when he scored the 4 goals of his team last time. This time he drops a doozy onto Maryville. When you got that kid on the pitch, ISU are never out of it.
That one just put my brain in the blender. I don't even know how he got that power. It was a wave dash, but I think he wave dashed and then almost like the setup into what looked like a zap dash, but instead of it, it was just a full front flip into it. He got all of the ball, and you'd see the near post defender saying, all right, what's he going to do with this one? Well, he showed you, and that is why you need to respect the skill on display here, especially now that he might get another open shot from an angle. High flick, CG is there. Comeback is complete.
You're not defined by your failures in Rocket League. The goals you concede, it's about how you bounce back. And the way that ISU have bounced back against Maryville throughout this series have been nothing short of outstanding. They've tied it up once again. It's time to clutch up in the final minute.
Easier said than done, Pyro, as we both know, especially when it's open passes to Speed, near post. When we were saying, Maryville, you got to be careful about your finishing, that is not a problem this game.
No, and especially at the kickoffs as well. This is the second one of this game now. Their efficiency and their proficient communication to connect like that off kickoff is short to nobody at this point. And it's got to be so deflating for ISU, because how do you work so hard for that equalizer to again and again give it up on the kickoff?
That's going to be Wave's hat trick, and it's very well taken from CG and him. He's trying to look at that angle. CG's got all the boost. Wave's got nothing. You can see him angle that car down, and not only that, but he doesn't fly off to the side. He tries to stay central just because he knows if he takes that 50, it might as well be an open net. ISU, all that work, and very quickly with 2 back-to-back kickoff goals, they got to mount something crazy in the final 40 seconds.
It already feels like they've mounted something crazy when they score 2 goals to come back. Can they do it once more? Maybe not with Knight combining with Wave. How do you even read this as the defense?
That was wide from Knight. I need to see this one again. Going from the back post to the near post, and then just leads across. It gets the lightest touch. Cosmic just got completely annihilated on this one, mainly just because I don't blame him for not jumping earlier. That's completely off blind side. He cannot even see that in his 110 FOV.
That's what Relating Wave does. He produces the unexpected, the surely they can't score this, and then they do. 6-3 in the final 20 seconds. Maryville University undoubtedly have taken that commanding shape back in this series, as they are one of the collegiate top contenders, not only here in this Midwest region, but all in the collegiate landscape. Here to prove it again, and now with their 2-1 lead in this regional final series, they get that win.
And it seems like kind of a sanity restoration type series if you're Maryville, because coming into this one, I don't believe these two teams have actually matched up in any bracket that I personally know of. They're actually in different divisions. For example, within CECC, there's a bunch of different leagues in which they have been in the bracket together, but they're all separated across. They've never really been able to cross. And typically, I would say that Maryville would be the favorite here. This is the first game where it felt like, yeah, it got a little off the rails in the middle, but near the back half, finishes were there, and it can be a spooky time for ISU every time you see an aerial up and you're like, I do not have that. We're just going to have to hope for the best and maybe pre-jump a save, and apparently that works every other game, but this one, I think you see how dangerous this team can be when they get a couple open looks.
I mean, the aerial shots were more spooky for Maryville because they were missing a bit at the end of the previous game. But the biggest switch up for me happened in that shot quality. They are so dangerous when it comes to not only kickoffs, but any aerial attempt. It seems like, especially from that final goal of Wave, these guys are locked in. They are approaching flow state, and it's up to ISU to knock them out of it.
And so we'll see whether or not they can actually figure this thing out, because right now it seems like you're solving a problem, but every single time variables change a little bit, and it just gets a little bit more difficult to be able to figure out what we need to do. And I don't really know what ISU needs to be able to do outside of the fact of just making sure they keep that aggression, keep that confidence, and on top of everything else, keep that boost, because as we know, that has been a constant problem, honestly, for both sides as we're starting to get more into the middle part of the series. Also dealing with maybe Cosmic's mechanics. That has to be number one, as No Mansion gets to watch the most beautiful build-up and the easiest of finishes.
Talk about the red carpet being rolled out, huh? Take a picture from the paparazzi on your approach there. No Mansion's like, I have no boost, but also no problems here. My team is taking care of the rest, and we've got that rare ISU lead.
And that's a really nice one, especially because you can see the doubt almost from Maryville. The disrespect, even, if you ask ISU. Cosmic through the air, doesn't have a lot of boost, doesn't have a lot of momentum, yet a really solid flick up and over to be able to capitalize with another backboard pass. The Algebra Cow coach for ISU trying to really dial it in for their squad. And you can see all the tactics coming in. These players always looking for that next option.
Well, and Coach, I hope you're talking to your team about these kickoffs, because we've gone through two, and ISU are good, but I would argue Maryville converted too many of them already in this best-of-7 series. Cleanup has to occur there for ISU, or at least some kind of anti-strat. Nonetheless, Cosmic, look at this air dribble, taking it straight to Knight. Knight smartly lands on the backboard, but it's not called to action. Speed has the wraparound. Demolition there from CG is a bit surprising, but we'll have to start from square one as No Mansion kicks it from his corner, gives it to Speed, a little bit of hassling there on the goal line. Cosmic, he's able to do with it. CG counteracts on the backboard.
Sweet, trying to keep it lively, especially along with Knight, just bumping Nomad, just reminding him he's there. As you can see, the boost honestly dwindling for ISU, but CG really needs this double tap just to be able to slow things down a little bit. But now it's all Maryville. They have to get themselves out of a jam. That was a temporary 3v1 pass across, the right idea, but it was too close. Relating Wave able to hook themselves onto that bait and get away with that save. Still hanging on. That 1-goal lead is ISU, but you can tell all it takes is just Maryville having one open look like we've seen. And honestly, the finishing doesn't seem like it's been dwindling, but right now they've definitely intercepted a lot more in the midfield than they're accustomed to.
Midfield seems a bit sparse now. Look at this. No Mansion has another nearly free shot. Talk about right place, right time. Not a lot of boost, but again, don't need it.
I always do like bringing up something, and then ISU immediately is like, okay, here's a demonstration, dear viewers. Cosmic cutting on in on that one, getting another assist, and just having No Mansion. He's got the easiest job. It's just cleanup, just being able to make sure you're at least close enough to the ball to be able to tap it on target. Maryville, we talked about this before, huge strength of theirs. Their offense is something that will just make you sweat. It'll make you panic, and then after that, if you can get through it, sometimes you get an open net. And right now, Maryville, they're not used to this one. They had this huge scoring barrage. Doesn't seem like they ever run out of goals. No Mansion doesn't feel like he runs out of power. Barely any buildup on that one, and it took Speed everything he had to be able to get back for it.
Love that from Cosmic. Knock it off the ceiling and maybe get that shot chance before Maryville can swipe it away. This time it's from the corner, and a miss off the backboard is going to leave it open for CG, who knocks it off the crossbar. And I know they're up 2 for ISU. First time they've had a lead like that, but you might as well extend it if you can, and CG will.
Oh, that is a thing of beauty. Hang it in the Louvre as No Mansion finds Cosmic. And then I have to say, that cannot be placed anywhere else for CG's pathing. If it's anywhere further to the left, that's safe. Anywhere further to the right, he might not be able to actually get that onto the near post. He's going to have to side flip or take a 50 or something. It had to be right there. And that is that clinical efficiency, the razor-sharp execution that ISU has been able to rely on. They are really getting, or really got smacked around the previous game, and now it's this one. They're delivering the beatdown.
They really are. Plays like that, by the way, Taka, the pass you just articulated, are moments where you acknowledge the beauty of this game. Because there are many esports where a great shot is an independent thing, but Rocket League is all about that teamwork. As many flip reset air dribble goals that you're going to watch, you are just going to be astounded by a picture-perfect pass, and ISU demonstrated 10 out of 10.
Hopefully they can actually figure out some form of a comeback, I would say, for Maryville. But honestly, Pyro, I kind of like it when we have all this chaos, when we have all of this going downhill, and every game is just rocking back and forth violently right now, because Cosmic, he's even getting in on the fun.
Well, refill on the popcorn, Taka, if you're enjoying it that much, because the chaos will ensue. Maryville are gonna get a close look at how they're operating on defense here. I think the possession time has shifted dramatically between the first 3 games and this 4th game here, favoring ISU for a change. And the resiliency that we've seen from ISU on defense is not the same of Maryville. Giving up a lot of chances, and at least half of them have been free looks to that net. So midfield and the defense definitely a priority for Maryville's come up.
Even then, you can see the ball just rebounding around the goal, and yet there's just no real satisfaction coming in from Maryville. Right now, honestly, it's crazy to even think about. They've had a double-digit shots pretty much every single game, and yet ISU had a short, less than a minute break because they're all readying up immediately before this game, and now they have held Maryville to just 5, which is otherworldly when you think about how efficient they've been. Eventually, it has to take pretty much 2 players combining their powers to get a goal with the lead demo, but that's really going to do little except for just boost the morale a bit.
Yeah, morale boost is a bit of that. Something to show for the next game, but we all know Maryville, they could go down 0-6 here, and they could still bounce back with a clean slate of a new game. The back and forth of the series has felt much similar to how these games have gone. Maryville go with a lead, ISU bring it back, they equalize, so on and so forth. But this is a shift. ISU dominate here in Game 4 to tie up the series, and now we work with just about a best of 3.
You know, keep going back and forth, and this is always the buildup I do like, and it's always anxiety build inducing because I feel like series in this case either one team just kind of figures it out and you take those 2 straight, you get your dub and be able to move on with your qual spot, or it just continues in that pattern and they get even closer and closer, because right now it seems like a weird inversion of that variant is happening where we had 2 games, 1 goal apiece, and then we had a 3-goal margin of victory from Maryville at the end of that last game, and then this one that just happened, another 3-goal margin of victory for ISU. So clearly they're experimenting with something and it's completely catching the other by surprise.
Yeah, and interestingly, we don't have timeouts here in this series, but this is the first time that I'm noticing players aren't readying up right away. And no mention not doing that, but Maryville, I don't see anyone readied up. So this is definitely a time to take that break and acknowledge exactly what you're saying, Taco. Neither team truly does have it figured out at this point. I think we need to remark on what Illinois State have done today. I mean, they've already bested Maryville better than Northwood have. Mind you, Northwood put up a 1-4 against Maryville. And this is also coming off of a sweep earlier that ISU had against Ball State and the win against Davenport, who has had their number all season long. So, Taco, I've got to say, this is a different ISU that we're seeing today.
Yeah, and this is really the situation where everyone, I think, will get a little bit more anxious, particularly because in other leagues, this is where playoffs are starting to approach. This is also where qualification spots are starting to dwindle for a lot of different leagues. Obviously, ISU could claim 1 qual spot here in the collegiate ecosystem with CECC, the largest kind of collection of collegiate talent that we do have year to year. But on top of that, CRL Opens, they have to actually make a really deep run. They've not been able to qualify 2 in, and they've been one of the few teams that people say, well, if they hit their stride, they could be dangerous, but are they going to do that? Right now, I feel like they're hitting their stride. If you're playing this well against Maryville, then you don't got much to worry about, but except for saves like that, and Cosmic will do so well.
That's amazing, because I just got done talking about, oh, no speed. Wow.
What?
Great coordination. Yeah, somehow Cosmic finds the read on the shot. When you put up double taps, you can save them as well. But how about a ripper from speed?
CJ, or CG rather, they're coming across on this one, and you can see him on the approach, but I think he was looking so much at the ball, he wasn't realizing speed. I think it was directly behind it, kind of obscured from his vision. He doesn't jump for it, and he's going to pay the cost. Maybe something you just shake your head about on the replay, realizing just how oblivious he was to the immediate danger, but either way, that's kind of a freebie from Maryville to be able to maybe steady the ship a bit. But I don't think ISU has really had a trouble. This is one of the few series here, Pyro, where I feel like a team scores, and I don't have any concern because we've been averaging like 5-6 goals a game, it seems like.
And why don't we rack up those numbers, right? Another passing play here from Maryville, and Knight once again facilitating it from the corner. That seems to be his place of dominion, where all of the developed goals occur from this guy, whether it's from a wall dash or a good read or a pre-flip into the ball. It's magnificent. And you're so right, Taco. Even with a 2-0 lead, how many equalizers, how many comebacks have we seen from ISU this series?
That could have been one, at least back for the good, but no mention, and Cosmic, rare miscommunication. They were both near the read and actually deflected each other's shots. So CG's going to have to say, no problem, I can take over from here and be able to cause some chaos. Some reset in the back pocket. No mention near post, and that's well worked. Completely trip up the D.
The fact that this reset beat 2 here, CG just put Relating Wave and Knight into a blender, and they came out in a different shape, a different person than who they came into that 50-50 with. Once again, ISU finding a way to claw their way back.
I really do also like that from CG for delaying the reset as much as possible. You see Knight actually gets fooled by it. Speed immediately turns, and as soon as he turns to say, hey, no problem, I can get the follow-up, that's when you use it. Tuck it underneath, and you can see Relating Wave almost out in his own world, just saying, it's fine, I'll just take care of everything else. Wait, what? Both of you got beat on that one? All right, was not expecting that.
Well, double beat there. There's a double demolition here as well. It's Maryville working with shortened numbers for a moment, but bounce back just fine. We're able to delay progression long enough. Knight, a hot shot, and wow, Wave asking everything from the ISU defense that they just can't achieve.
I wonder whatever Pax Wave is using lately. Look at this one. Cross his body and cross goal. Poor Cosmic. It's one of those plays where you're zooming back to goal because you're expecting, I mean, if he's on the middle of the field and he's coming from an angle, that shot's going to be in the center goal or maybe a little bit to the left, and instead he crosses across, completely destroys the defender's idea of where they need to approach. And really relating wave, not necessarily carrying the team on his back, but a couple times now he has had an open shot where he's had to deliver, and he has been really racking up the goal total for his squad.
And just to amp up how great that shot was, you're outsmarting someone like S5 Cosmic, who is great at reading the next play with his 1v1 prowess. It's just relating wave, the kind of guy you want to be the hot hand, you want to deliver that final shot to. This time he's going to be called for the save, and he is able to get it past No Mansion. Knight almost with the sidewall, but Speed's quite pleased to take the ball instead. Cosmic regains, though, on defense with that save.
Saves like that can do a lot. Just be able to make sure you're at least staying at least one kind of foothold into this series. As No Mansion will find Cosmic downfield. He skips it past the defender, but also past the post. It doesn't even matter because nobody touches it. No Mansion on the counter.
Wow. This one's huge, and it's reminiscent of what we've seen all along from ISU. Breaking down Maryville on the counterattack. Sharp shot of a final goal.
See, what I wasn't paying attention to was Knight. He was back, but he only had about 20 boosts. He used it all to get back, and then he just had to pre-jump in front of it. No Mansion actually kind of delayed the shot. I don't even know if by intention, just by design, because he only had so much in his own tank, and that one goes out the window. Maybe this one as well. CG, it is wide open. Pyro, again, we're seeing a comeback.
Oh, my. Are you focused on the frustration here from Maryville, or how maybe ISU are just laughing at this point? Because how does it happen over and over and over again? No one had boosts there, Taco. Nobody.
Really, it just keeps coming back to the fact that these players are obviously some of the most elite, and yet it comes down to making them look like they're fools by stealing away the boost, by being able to cut in front, just be unexpected in a tactical sense, crazy like a fox. And I feel like even though we don't have any foxes here, we have Saints and Redbirds. They're certainly both putting on their best performance, and my goodness, are they clashing in kind of weird, unique ways that I don't think I've really seen before in a series. I have no idea how these games are going to go, and that's exactly what it should be within a regional final.
I mean, it takes a certain level of competency to make Titans show off their quirks, right? Otherwise, they just look like strong contenders that cannot be beaten. But this time, they're disrupted in a very creative way that allows us to witness what we are witnessing here. And what we'll witness yet again is a tied game leading into the final minute.
Ooh, No Mansion CG make me a little spooked. Does that one result in a bump, as No Mansion will be able to recover and get the 1-0 boost 50, gets the beat over the second one, so ISU might be able to tentatively move on forward, but don't want to go too far. That's why Relating Wave is able to try to bait them in. Gonna get 50 on the first one. Knight's out of the play. Speed in for it. No more boost. He gets all he could on it. Not enough on the accuracy.
And No Mansion just goes for the bump, says someone will fill in, but you're asking for two teammates who don't have a lot of boost here. They managed to get it to the halfway point. Speed once again the savior on these counterattack shots. Just has a good read on the shadow defense. Flick across half court will be intercepted there from CG. Knight spying the backboard for a pass out to Relating Wave. It's a bouncer off the crossbar. Speed doesn't like the shot opportunity. He's staying in the equation, though it's not quite over. But on the bump, it dissipates. To overtime we go.
I really like that play from Cosmic. He doesn't get the save or the clear, but that's actually the whole point. No boost from anyone, and no one on Maryville going for it, so he just waits, takes a 50, trying to just jumping in place, and that's ultimately what gets ISU into this OT for a chance to be able to put themselves on match point. You could say the same against Maryville, but you have no idea whether or not it's going to result in just one shot being the difference. No Mansion probably wishes he had a different angle of approach on that.
Definitely, after seeing exactly where Speed was, which was in the lane of the shot. Wait, in the lane of the supersonic speed there of Cosmic off the demolition, but off the ceiling, CG has the read, bounce pass over to Cosmic, he delays, shots, and scores! Cosmic for ISU, take the lead in the series.
It's a solid flick, but it's a dainty little touch from CG. No advanced mechanics required, just jumps off the backboard and uses the rest of his tank to be able to tap it over that first defender. And then the rest of everyone just has to gulp and say, well, I guess we'll just have to hope that Rank X Cosmic 1v1 prodigy coming in here for ISU squad. The expert able to deliver on that skill set.
I was given the feeling that we'd get another long overtime, Danger Taco, but it appears not. ISU just clinical in these clutch situations. Again, comebacks, long overtime, short or overtime, they're able to really bring that sense of a calm nature to the game. Like you said, Cosmic slowed it down and pinpointed the exact place to score. And, you know, you mentioned No Mansion. He wanted that earlier shot back, but they're so focused on that shot placement at times that it's very pleasing to see. And now, Taco, ISU, beyond all expectations, are on match point in our grand finals for this Midwest Regional.
Yeah, now we have been trading games left and right, so logically it should be Maryville winning the next one. But eventually, if they want to be able to do this, they have to be able to do what few teams, obviously, in this series have been able to do, win 2 straight to be able to actually take this qual spot, which coming in as the higher seed, everyone, I think, expecting them to do so. This is a clean ISU, though. I think we talked about a lot of nets were left wide open for them, but if you rewind all those highlights that are playing in the post game, if you rewind the series and watch it back, you notice how much the build-up is so sublimely good. You see Maryville diving in and getting cut in front of. You see them getting demoed and then getting delayed flicks into the middle. It's really tricky for Maryville to adjust to. Even with all the competitive experience these players have on Maryville across continents, it's still such a struggle to be able to tie down these Redbirds.
They're in flight, and they are supersonic as well. One game away from CECC. Qualification and Knight in the, what I know to be the Redosin preset. I don't know if you recognize it the same way, Knight. I mean, we've seen it on, like, I want to say TSM before as well. It's a unique one.
Yeah, the slime boost will never be pleasing, so hopefully Director Cam does never go on Knight, because just hearing the like as it goes by the screen is not a fun thing. It's just like Gogurt going out of that car. Not a huge fan of that, but either way, am a fan of high-level players playing in goofy different cars, so a little change-up sometimes. You got to change in between games and see how it fits you.
Hey, well, go, go, go is the case here for these teams. Maryville often getting that first goal, setting the tempo and forcing ISU's hand. Love to do that again here in this game, but then it's shaved and still nothing to show for a wave. Kind of hassle on that bump play, but still able to set up Knight. No Mansion drops it down, to CG, and he's a little bit bent backwards here. Cosmic, the final one, called into action. CG already moving up, provides a space there for the flick from Cosmic, but there is no follow-up shot. No Mansion rather plays defense.
Kind of rough catch here. Is going to have to rescue and use a decent amount of boost, but that's fine. CG able to rescue. Flick only into speed. Cosmic finds CG again into the corner, who will get slapped out of the way. Knight trying to get it across, and yet Cosmic not only gets the first one, might have a reset. No, he just forgoes it, tries to speed it across. Zero boost relating wave. Only reason we don't have our first goal yet.
I think Cosmic, he just ran out of boost to even get the reset. It would have been very difficult to coordinate, and maybe a little bit too late, honestly, as well. So he goes for the distance on the shot instead. And here we go for distance once again on the clear. Speed kicks it up to the sidewall. Wave right back to him, but not enough boost. Instead, it's back to Knight. Drops it down. Relating wave is peeling off, though. And he's barely in time to contend in the midfield.
No Mansion cut. You're looking for a bump. Knight able to jump over this one as Cosmic will follow suit with some more 50s. CG roller across as No Mansion is going to be able to pre-jump Knight just to make sure they take away as many options as possible, which I think is really important when you're playing against Maryville. A lot of the teams, they have this kind of like background mentality of saying, well, these teams are really mechanical and fast. Let's just not dive in too much. But that's really the mistake, I feel like. If you can trust in your reads and your rotation, you need to get in their way and make them have to improvise, because otherwise you're just at the mercy of their mechanics, and that is not where you want to be finding yourself.
Certainly not. No, not with any of these players on the pitch, but I feel like especially for Maryville. So yeah, disruption's the name of the game. Outpacing or matching that is the motto. And I feel like because of that, we've seen the physical play take shape, because that is one of the best ways known in Rocket League to get the disruption play. What? No Mansion cooks her pinch, picture perfect.
You're thinking, what can he possibly do with this one? Well, there's your answer. Everybody on Maryville upfield, but I don't blame him. Really little to do there. Just another one of those things you need to practice occasionally in custom training, in free play, because you never know when you look downfield and say, if only I could get this from sidewall, burning the turf, just a roller straight on down in the quickest way possible. ISU, is that the goal that stamps their ticket to CECC?
Oh, what an insane reality we would live in if that's the case, but absolutely the reality I crave. We were asking for the chaos earlier. We have certainly got it. ISU in the rare shape of having this lead and now having to hold it for 1 minute and 20 seconds to qualify for that CECC.
Ooh, it's not without some doing here from Maryville. Knight and Speed both up for this one. Neither of them getting on top of it. No Mansion, 50, 0 boost. I don't know if anyone knew that. Speed was saying, hey, please someone help me out from a better angle. And Knight will oblige as well as trying to get that 50, but CG does well past him. Speed taking on No Mansion. Simultaneous demos brings it temporarily to 2v2, but that hurts Maryville more than anyone else.
And Speed was hoping that someone could pick up that beautiful 50-50 that he coordinated, and he was certainly hoping the Wave had scored that shot. Another one misfired here as it's saved by ISU again, and off the double commit, how much longer can they survive?
Ooh, not with aerials like that from Leading Wave. He was seconds late to that one. No Mansion Cosmic, no boost, so I think trying to maybe get a pinch or deflection or something. Either way, that does not work out. This one might if Speed gets his way. Double commit from ISU, and maybe Maryville can set up camp.
Here we go,
no!
All the way downfield once again. This one off the post. We have seen it all this game, but Maryville, can you show us a little bit more? Speed from the backboard, double tap denied. Knight off the midfield stops it from getting to the other side of the field. Pass over to Relating Wave denied. Speed with the final chance high up the backboard. It could be available. One more chance and Knight. It's denied, but Wave, we're not done yet.
Maryville refuses to go away in both the figurative sense, but very much the literal. They could not leave that ball alone. ISU set up a wall, but eventually walls will be broken down. Maryville pulling out last-second heroics, but is it all for naught again? They need the win here and the following to be able to qualify through.
My memory feels wiped, but if I can remember anything, I believe ISU have 2 overtime wins in this series. It could be a third to stamp that into the CECC qualification spot. They've been ice cold. Can they do it again? CG cannot beat Speed to that shot, though, but No Mansion sees the possession and the value and the promise that it still holds. Demolition on Cosmic should have it cease to exist. CG doesn't want to give it up in the midfield.
No Mansion, you're going to try to tap that one down. 50 doesn't work out. Cosmic, no boost. I think CG knows that, so he tries to call him off of it. Deflection from Speed into Knight. Fakes past one, cut past another into the corner. He's going to leave it for Speed. Back post. Not getting any of that one, and now all of it. Maryville has to scramble back to cover their bases.
It all comes down to this. In so many of these situations, we've talked about who makes that mistake, but this series has evolved so much, it might just be who peaks at the end of the day, who puts their team on the shoulders. Wave has put in so many goals for this Maryville team. Maybe he's called into action to keep this series alive.
Especially important because we did see Relating Wave with a wide open shot. It's almost one of those ones where you're just going for speed, just to beat out the defender, and then halfway through you realize, if only I took my time, probably could have been a guaranteed goal, but no need to be able to regret anything. You were able to get your team to where you were looking for, into that overtime, still with a chance to be able to take this dub. Now you just got to make sure Cosmic doesn't start cooking. He's tried to get the air dribble start off, but Wave forced him to throw it away.
Unbelievable read there from Speed just to get it on target and ask the defense to save yet another shot. And another one comes, and surely there's more percolating still for this Maryville offense. Speed flips in towards the net. This one so precarious, yet still ISU get out of dodge.
Oh, and that was terrifying just for a moment. You can see one whiff and everyone almost gasps in the ISU facility, but they are able to survive, and as long as they're able to reposition themselves, should be good. And talk about good. How about excellent pre-jump by No Mansion, as well as the 50 on the follow-through. CG's the only one with boost, and he's still going to dive right in.
Speed does see Relating Wave here. Cosmic, a very important stop there, but the boost is stolen yet again. Maryville have been just visionaries to spot that boost, take it for themselves, and now Knight utilizing that boost to progress upfield once again. Speed should have the beat on this ball and takes it straight to the backboard, unrelenting with the pressure, yet that counterattack always just aware and available for ISU.
CG is running out of boost as No Mansion will try to fill in to cut out that pass. And And it's solid that he does. ISU playing really solid, predictive Rocket League, both in overtime and regulation, being able to see Maryville's exfil strategies more or less and just say, all right, well, if you miss that one, I can cover their next one, as Nomad tried to clear the way for CG. No demo able to connect.
ISU, you've denied expectations all day long. Ball State and Davenport both have had their graves dug out and filled. And now you're lowering one final casket, one final goal will deliver them. Great 50 against speed there will put ISU back in the driver's seat. Knight is contested here by CG. Delivers the ball back into the corner. Get no mention, not a lot of boost on this opportunity. Leaves it for Cosmic. There's the shot. It's on target. It is in. ISU are your CECC qualies from the Midwest.
And it comes off of what we've been seeing all day long. CG throws it middle. No mention, has nothing. He goes up just to fake. And of course, it takes all three players from ISU to slay the Maryville Saints on this one. Incredible series with 0-second dramatics, multiple overtimes, but of course, don't get the game 7. I don't even mind, though. This one is a surprising result in itself, at least if you go by the seeding. I think if you talk to the Redbirds, exactly according to plan.
Absolutely. They woke up today and knew they were champions. That was the champion mentality that we saw today. Perseverant as ever. ISU, they win the series, but spent a lot of, maybe a majority of the time, at a deficit, always working back at Maryville, always reminding them what caliber of play they're bringing to the stage, and that's even against a Maryville who just 4-1'd Northwood. This Illinois State University is very deserving of their title today.
Again, that will qualify them into the CECC Nationals a little bit later on from the Midwest, which is, I don't think people understand just how stacked this bracket is. When people say, okay, yeah, it's a qualifier playing against, like, you know, a decent number of good teams. Maryville, Northwood, Davenport, Ball State, you had Shawnee in there of Indiana Tech, like a lot of really high level, like top 30, top 20 even teams in the entire nation are in this bracket. They were able to beat all of them. And I have to say, from ISU, this is a team that really needs a lot of wins across a couple different leagues. And if they keep playing like this, I really do not envy anyone who has to go through their path.